Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Woo, we made it. We made it through another week, and things are happening. Mitch is on the down low, and I think he is, we'll talk about it. But look, things are really happening. You can tell that the energy is changing. So thank you so much for joining me. Friday Night Live with Susan Lynn. How is everybody? So good to see you. Yeah, really and truly, things are changing. The energy is changing. Now, it's sort of like everything flew off of the dinner table and it's going to hit the floor and you're going to have to clean it up. But at least all the stinky stuff that you didn't want is off the table. So we have to kind of look at the positive wherever we can find it, right? So that's what we're doing. Boy, and so many of us are experiencing extreme heat. I just got back from Canada with Kevin Lewis at his amazing retreat up there. If you ever get an opportunity to do a retreat with Kevin, it's amazing. And it was chilly up there, and I welcomed that. It was cloudy, it was not rainy, but it was just really pretty up in British Columbia, up in Squamish. Really happy to have seen you, some of you in person. I met some new people. It was really a fun time. Yeah, so let's get dialed in here. Florida. Ooh, that's going to be pretty hot. Um, yeah, let's see what we're going on here. Cassidy Hutchinson. Um, yeah, I don't thank you. Yeah, I was just asking the spirit guides if this is topaz or if this is tiger's eye. I think I can't get it any closer. It's brown. I can't, and like I'm not sure. I get those two mixed up. Topaz and tiger's eye, are they the same? Anyway, my crystal people will tell us. Okay, I'm trying to remember who Hutchinson is. Remember that I have been out of pocket for a week. Let's see, former White House aide who was assistant to chief of staff. That's who I thought it was. Okay. You're saying the DOJ is going to go after her? Well, they're going after everybody. The guides just showed me Hunter Biden. They're still going after him. They're not going to not go after people because this is part of their distraction machine, the guides are calling it. So some of the stuff that you're going to see is really just distraction. And it also, this is, I'm channeling you guys, but they think that if they tie up the courts with this kind of nonsense, I'm not saying it's nonsense exactly, but if they tie up the courts with red tape and cases, then any cases that they don't want to be in the court will be delayed, right? If you think about it, it kind of makes sense. If the court can only see so many cases per, I don't even know what that word, biannum? I don't know. Is that yearly? By yearly, maybe? Then if the docket is full, the docket is full. So when one of their people come around, the docket is full. It buys them time. Okay. So you're going to see them start to put a lot of cases out there just to clog up the courts. That's what the guides are saying. Great news. We're just jumping right in today. I hope you guys are ready. Uh, Stargazer says Jack Smith is back in the news with a big change. Yes, there, because this is what I'm saying. The energy has now shifted. It was, I wouldn't say it was a gridlock. I would say that we were in a free fall. And now the energy is starting to speed that free fall up so that we can get to the bottom, so that we can then, check our, this is what the guys always say, right? We're going to check ourselves. What's left of our government? What do we need to repair? How do we need to do, triage? So the energy is really moving right now. And with that, you see Jack Smith coming out with that interview that he did where he took the gloves off. There was a time, was there not, like a whole year when nothing was happening, where it just felt like we couldn't catch a break, where our heroes were not really getting any kind of wins on the board. And now we have Obama with his amazing presidential library. We have all these things coming out, Jack Smith, all these things, even Hunter Biden, he's out over there slugfesting people, right? So the energy really, really has shifted. And that's good. And also, let's just briefly talk about, I'll circle back around because you guys, and I appreciate you so much for tuning in. But the West Coasters, it's 5 o'clock and they're just getting off work and they join me in an hour. Like in an hour, the audience will be 3 times bigger. So I feel like I have to wait to talk about some of the more important things for when people are here, right? So, but I will say that I have news about um I have news about oh, they want to talk about Lindsey Graham. I don't want to I'm not asking about Lindsey Graham. Ain't nobody asking about Lindsey Graham. Okay, hold one moment. One moment, please. They're saying we have important news about Lindsey Graham. Really? Okay, can you wait or no? Is this like something that cannot? I feel like a little kid. You know when the kid is like, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, and and you're like, can you not wait till we get home, or can you not wait? Like really, this is like they're like, nah, 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 nah. Really, y'all, really? Okay, anyway, Lindsey Graham, not Mitch McConnell. They want to talk about Lindsey Graham, so and they're giving me chills about it. Ugh, okay, wait a minute here. So I will say I can do two things at once sometimes. I will say that Mitch McConnell is on life support. I think that he's on life support to the degree that he's doing the walkabout, that he's not in his body. When we are going to have an accident, especially a traumatic one, we jump out of our body. We don't need to be in this meat suit and experience all that. Nobody wants all that. And if you're in a coma, you're going to jump out of your body because nobody wants to experience all that. So the physical body is there. And oftentimes, and this is what's happening with Mitch McConnell, the physical body is being kept alive. The guides are saying artificially. Okay, so they're keeping him alive. Remember how they kept that poor woman alive for all those months for her to have the baby? Remember? So they're going to keep him alive as long as they can. But here's the problem. The problem is that the guides show that he is not viable. He's not a young person. His body is breaking down. He's going to die. The bottom line is that they cannot keep his body alive. He's going to die. And then the next thing that's going to happen is that there will be ethical and humane, I don't know why that's important, medical professionals who will call it, who will say, this man's dead as a doorknob, dead, dead, time of death. Like they're going to treat it with the humanity and humility that they treat everybody. And when he's dead, they're going to say he's dead. And that is not going, there is no HIPAA at that point from what they're telling me. You dead, HIPAA's dead too. So I think that they're not going to be able to keep this a secret for until August or whatever their little plan is. I don't see them being able to keep this a secret. Now, I got a download about Lindsey Graham that if you follow me on Threads or you're in my community, I have an online community that we have a separate space that's private for like politics, and it's called Democracy Dialogue. If you're in one of those two places, you might have seen this. However, before I tell you the download that I got, because it is kind of gross, okay? But anyway, I would just say that when he goes, or when this medical professionals say he's gone, it's chaos. I don't know why, but the energy is chaos. Like we weren't ready. We didn't have everything in place. There's infighting about who's, again, power vacuum. The guides talked about this all last year. Power vacuums are really bad because it means that there's no plan of succession. There's no plan for everybody to take their places. It's like the play starts, but nobody knows where they're going. Well, are you playing this role or am I playing it? Why? It's chaos. So that's what I think is going to happen. Somebody remind me about, I don't want to go too far into McConnell because it was pretty gross, but I want to wait just a minute for more people to come on, because let me tell you, another reason why I think that he's really going to be dead is because I've read on this man for a long time. And the only thing he really ever told me, he's inscrutable, right? I mean, you can kind of guess what he's going to do. He's pretty clear that he's evil and you know what he's going to do. But when I've tried to read on him before, the only thing he's ever told me clearly, unabashedly, was I will die on the floor of Congress. I'm not retiring. I'm going to stay in my seat until I die. Now, he said he was going to retire. He's supposed to retire, but here he is. He actually AFibbed or whatever he did. right there, and just the way he said he was going to do it, right? So that was really clear to me that that was a message from him. Now, the next thing that he started talking, I want to say shite, that's how I know. This is how I know that he's not coming back, because he's sharing secrets that he wouldn't ever share, and it's almost like he's unburdening himself, um, and burdening us. Right? It's you know what the guide said? It's those deathbed confessions where you've been living your whole life. You didn't need that to know that, Uncle Tommy. Don't You didn't need to tell us all that. And yet Uncle Tommy said, hey, this is what this is what happened. And you're like, great, now I don't know what to do with that, right? Like, I'm burdened with it. So that's kind of what he did today with me. Was he just told me some gross stuff, um, which I will get into. I do want to also go into, Mitch is responsible for most of the BS that we are experiencing. I mean, we can go back to Reconstruction, Civil War, we can go back to the founding of this country, all the things we did to Native Americans, all the things we did to slaves. There's a lot here, right? But if you look at the last at his tenure, he was the chief person in charge of the hell that we're in right at the moment. So yeah, so this is how I know that he's really not coming back, because he's sharing things about himself that he would never ever share. And I would just say that this is for entertainment purposes only, and allegedly. And so, three things that he told me. Well, I don't even know. I can't. I'm channeling, so I have to do this their way. What he told me was that I can't remember the very first thing he told me, but anyway, all right, fine. The number two thing he told me was that it was a lot when I posted it, so I realized that it's pretty gross. But so he was into, let's say he was into black men, or black allegedly young men. Okay, number one. Number two, he groomed them. So he groomed them from a very early age, from like, this is allegedly for entertainment purposes only, but from like 12 or 13, right? He started grooming them. It took a long time. You're not, Mitch wouldn't be somebody who was on Grinder, right? He had his handful of people that he had relationship with, and those people were so, you know, cultified. They were so groomed that they were completely safe, and they were really, just really bought into the whole thing. Okay. And some of the things that happened, it was all about power with these men, these young men. And also it was also about um being dominated. So a lot of these guys, a lot of these Republican guys have a kink where they want to be dominated. And we know this because the dominatrixes are on social media saying, I'm making so much money off of these men, right? So Mitch told me all this. He said, well, I like to be whooped by them. Whooped, I mean whipped. Okay. He's like, but then when I went into the whole energy, it crushed the souls of those men, because those men ended up loving him. And it was about this whole sadism and this whole just gross dark energy. Okay. um and also he did some other things, like, if they didn't, yeah, Daniel Cameron allegedly, who knows, this is all me making stuff up, because nobody wants, I don't need no knocks on my door. So anyway, it gets into it, but he's laying it all out. He's not naming names, he's only talking about himself. And he's talking about the situation. um and I would also just say, I think they're saying it's safe for me to say this, that it might, right, that this is all going to come out, a la the Epstein files, right? Like, this stuff is not locked away forever. Like, I think one of the things they said was the skeleton was just going to fall out of the closet. So I think this stuff is going to come out. That's one of the reasons why he's saying it himself. Also, it could be possible that a la E files, that some people that he groomed could not handle the setup and they were removed. Now, I'm not talking about retired. I'm not talking about no problem, go live your life. I'm talking about removed from the planet. And also that was a blessing for them. Okay, because they were broken. They couldn't it's not that they couldn't handle being abused. It's worse than that. They couldn't handle hurting somebody they loved so much that they had cooked their brain, Stockholm syndrome, right? So anyway, he he told me all this stuff, and believe me, I didn't ask for it, uh, but I know that I believe that this was him, and I there's no way that this message would ever get to me. So for me, it also gave me hope to know that he's exiting. And this is the energy that's changing, right? With Jack Smith coming out and being more forceful, more powerful, with Obama coming out and being more forceful, more powerful. Kamala Harris working with Mom Donnie. Mom Donnie is over here saying, hey, maybe we need to have city sponsored grocery stores. And this is all, because people can't get food or can't get safe food or inexpensive food. And people are freaking out saying, yeah, well, that's socialism, that's communism. And the best comeback I ever saw was how many states still have state owned liquor stores? Like when I lived in North Carolina, it was a state owned liquor store. So if the state is managing certain things, then that's the same thing as a grocery store. You know what I mean? So we all need to be prepared to fight back against these things about socialism because there's plenty of ways to prove that it's already happening. And I would also say something that really drives me crazy is how many subsidies these corporations get to log our forest for nothing, no money basically. They can drill oil, they can drill for oil, they can basically use public lands for so cheap. Now, if you that's corporate welfare, right? So I just would encourage everybody to bone up on some of these things. So when people come at you, you can say, well, how come this company got so many subsidies to just be a company? Because I had a photography business, nobody was giving me a subsidy, yet so many industries get literally government money to just do their business. Well, why don't we give schools more government money, right? So you're going to hear that this is going to be our conversation. So let's move on up to Lindsey Graham. I don't know what that was just incoming. I mean, they tried to talk to me about him earlier, and I was like, I don't want to talk about that fool. But here we are. Yep. Sorry, we just talked about a few things. But we did come in hot today. We came in, we're not greeting anybody. We're just like going for it, right? Lindsey Graham, what do they want to talk about? Oh, right. They're showing me the picture, right? There was a long time ago, maybe a year ago, but I don't know because time has no meaning to them, where I saw Lindsey allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, I believe he might be a pretty big drinker. Okay. And I believe that he is not in alignment, right? He in the closet is probably an understatement for him. Okay. He's not in alignment. That when you're not in alignment, when you're hiding something so integral about yourself, look what Mitch just said. Hey everybody, I'm coming out of the closet as oh right, his first thing was his first thing, number one, racist. Like I know we all know he's racist, but I didn't even know how racist he was. Like super plantation racist. Okay. So when you're out of alignment and you got secrets, it's very hard to keep your energy, your chi alive. It's hard to live. Okay. It's people sometimes they OD or they exit or they get sick, right? Because they're out of alignment. So here we are with Lindsey, and I feel like the gig is up. Basically, the guys are saying the gig is up. McConnell's gonna be gone. He's gonna be gone very soon. He might they're gonna try to keep him alive on the down low. He's hooked up to monitors. He's being kept artificially alive, the guide said. But I don't his body, you can't keep an old body alive, right? If he was a young physical specimen, you could keep his physical specimen alive, but his body's literally breaking down. So that happening is going to be a big thing. I think there's dominoes are starting to fall. And let me tell you, Lindsay he will not go to prison. He will not be around when those chips start falling. Now, conversely, when I go into his energy, he doesn't really have the willpower to take himself out, because that takes a lot. It takes a lot of, to go against your own will to live. And he doesn't really have that. So I think it might be kind of an accident, a quasi accident that Lindsay he's going to do something surprising. He's either going to flee the country, the energy is flee his life, flee the country, or what is that they're saying? When you do something against your better good, your better, judgment. So he might be caught in some kind of real situation where it destroys him. There's a sense of moving on. He's going to move on either from his career and his profession and his self-respect, one way or another, either exit stage left from this planet or try to flee the country. I feel like right now he's really thinking about fleeing the country. Yeah, self-sabotage. Accidental OD. Yeah, I mean, because he doesn't do it thinking, I'm going to do this. He does it thinking, poor me, I don't want to feel this anymore. I'm going to just keep taking something until I don't feel it anymore. That's a different motivation than I'm going to end it. Okay. So when I just go into his energy, I mean, it could be called an S, he could be said that happened to him. I'm just in his energy and he doesn't really have that. So yeah, let's move on. Oh, I can't let's talk about this because this was really interesting. Because I do this work all the time, I know when my guides don't want me to do something. And I know when they don't want me to do something and yet I do it anyway. So that's come up a lot in the last week. So they find other ways to get the message to me. And it's not like just a message like, hey, Susan, it's not a good idea. It's more like, we're going to block you from physically doing the things you want to do. So what happened was I tried to write about this. The question is, not the cheating. It was about his wife. I done the wrong thing. Right. I'll come back to the cheating. So the thing was, Chris Anders says, does McConnell's wife know what kind of person he was? So sickening. So I have talked about his wife before. Not in depth, but I have talked about it. And the thing they don't want me to talk about is, well, first of all, they don't mind me saying this. He was terrified of her. Number two, she was a beard. This was a marriage of convenience, a marriage of control, power, right? She's big in a family of shipping magnates, Chinese shipping magnates. Come on, it's like when they used to marry somebody to a king or to another country, and then that would have a big alliance. Basically, China had a big alliance with our Congress, right? Or for sure, this company. So the thing they don't want to talk about is the fear and how his sister-in-law, her sister, passed. I even skipped over the D word and used past. Not going to talk about it. I've talked about it before. You can Google it right now and you can find it. Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law, accidental, DEATH. But they don't want me to talk about it. And so that's fascinating to me when I've talked about something and now they're like, you're not going to talk about it. What happened was I tried to type it out and it just kept disappearing. I couldn't make it. I tried it 3 times. I tried it in my notes so that I could copy it and paste it. They wouldn't let me do it. It kept disappearing. So that's an indication to me in the physical. Hey, don't talk about that. So So that's that. And then the other question from Tammy was, how will the cheating play out in midterms? Will Trump or cronies win via cheating again? Well, that's their plan. But here's the thing. Right now, we are in July. I understand the midterms are coming up very quickly, but all the wheels are falling off the bus because we have Mitch going out. We have Smith coming in. We have Katie Fang won. Isn't that her name? She won a court. She's getting her day in court, and as part of discovery, she's going to get a lot more e-files and a lot more stuff that they weren't going to allow. So that's a big win. The government accidentally put a bunch of files in another case that was discovery. So you see that Spirit is finally like winning, like we're starting to win. And we talked about Lindsay, we talked about Mitch. These people are starting to move out because they understand that it's over. It's like when your team is losing and you just get your stuff up because you're like, I'd rather leave now and not have to fight the parking lot. This is where we are. I'm not trying to claim prematurely win. I'm not trying to do that, but I am saying we can see with our own eyes in the physical realm that change is happening. Okay. So yes, their plan is to cheat with the midterms, but here's the problem. Because what I do is I look at the energy, and I also look at the physical world, and I look at the energetic world, and I try to see which, is the non-physical stuff starting to manifest in the physical. Because, look, you can have the potential for an illness, but you don't ever develop it. That's basically what I'm talking about here. There's potential for these things. There's potential for them to cheat, but they don't have a way to pull it off because Vance is not anybody's dream. He's not the robber baron's dream. It's not anybody's dream. And I've said this all along, right? And I still stand by this. The energy still supports this, that the robber barons are going to make a deal with the Jeffries, the Schumers, the whoever they are, whenever it gets to be time, they'll make a deal with those people. And those people will then try to get the Democratic Party under one, platform. And it will be something like America First, but it will be like for the good of the country. Let's come together. And you see now these corporate Dems fighting back against Mamdani. They're fighting back against these really liberal, whatever you want to call them. I would just call them, good candidates, right? So why I think they might not do this is I think that it's everything is in motion. We're putting too many wins on the board. So what they're going to do is pivot, and what they're going to do is they're going to make a deal with these corporate Dems and say, look, wave the white flag. Theoretically, we'll make a deal with you, right? We will do a hostage negotiation deal with him. We're not going to talk to you guys over there. We refuse. If you want to make a deal with us, we're only going to make a deal with Jeffries. So if you want a deal, you're going to have to give him the power. That's what I see happening. So it could be surprising. It could be that we get the power, but then we have to figure out within our own party, how to get those people to do what we want and not backslide a little bit. Hopefully that explains. That's what I see. So I've never seen the midterms being canceled. I know that it feels like that, but I don't see that. And these robber barons, they have to stay in power at all cost. So of course they're going to pay off whoever they can to stay in power. And if it means that they have to pay a little bit more taxes, that's great, right? They'll say, oh, we'll go from 18% taxes, we'll pay a whopping 22%, right? Whereas if we had somebody like AOC or somebody else in there, Kamala Harris, whoever you want to put in there, well, they would be paying 35 or 40%. Do you see what I'm saying? It's going to be worth it to them to get some mainstream Democrat in there. It'll be the best money they ever spent, the guides just said. Right. Oh, Smith gave interview to Nicole Wallace on MS right now. Wow. Okay, cool. James Carville already left the Democratic Party, been overdue. This is another one of those good things I'm seeing. So like I'm just adding these things up to say, okay, is this to me feels like there's enough good things happening, because James Carville is another one who a lot of people really liked because he was rock'em sock'em, but he was also, especially lately, for the good of the country, everybody got to get together behind Schumer's, behind Democratic Party. And look, I'm not saying to you guys that I'm not going to vote Democrat. I'm not saying that. Look, honestly, if Schumer's was running for president, or Jeffries, and that's who I had to vote for, I would vote for them. I'm not going to throw the nomination, but what I am going to do is work really freaking hard to get a better candidate in there from the beginning. Right. And if one of those people get in, which I'm 100% sure they will, because this all started happening to me 6 months ago. I go through these things really early, where I go through all the stages of grief. And then when it happens, I can be calm when you guys are freaking out. This is how I always do it. I go through it first, and then when everybody's freaking out, I can be calm. But believe me, I already have my freak out session. Seriously. Judge addressed it with Blanche 2 more weeks. Yeah. Blanche was one of the people that I think so Todd Blanche, remember, that's the attorney who got 45 off. He's the guy that really got 45 off. 45 should already be in prison. And he's a brilliant attorney. The problem is he's cooked. His brain is cooked. When you get to the point where you can't see reality anymore, you're not a good anything. You're not a good doctor. You're not an attorney. You're not a good anything. So I think the discovery, he's going to have to answer a lot more discovery than he ever thought possible. And it is coming. I don't know if it's 2 weeks. It could be quicker. Also, time is really speeding up. Like I said in the very beginning of this live stream, time is super fast right now. So there was like a whole year when nothing seemed to happen, and we were just locked in this painful kind of gridlock, right? And now time is moving very quickly, which is great. I did a video a year and a half ago called Constitutional Crisis, where I talked about all this. And again, it was way too early, because that's how I do things, because the guides are like, we have to prepare people. But the problem is we couldn't see it. We couldn't believe that this was going to happen. When you say constitutional crisis, I mean, we are in a constitutional crisis, because we don't even know. The guides are saying we don't even know how much of a constitutional crisis we're in right now. The guides keep saying we have no money. The treasury is empty. We've been robbed. We've been fleeced. The guides are saying we've been fleeced, the word fleeced. So guess what? When whoever is in Congress, or whoever is president, they have to fix this. We have to figure this stuff out. We have to figure out where'd the money go. We have to figure out how do we get it back. We have to figure out how do we refill our coffers. There's a lot of conversations that are going to be had, and we're going to want to have those conversations. But these Democrats are going to be like, we got it. Just do your thing. We're working over here to figure it out. But we're tired of hearing that. We want to be in the middle of it. We want those town halls. We want you to show up in our little town, in our state, and we want to hear what you're doing. We're tired of all this being done in secret. So we are in a constitutional crisis for sure. I'm not sure when you wrote that, 534. I'm really channeling, so I don't know. This is what the guide said, the exact same words, Laughter 17. They said, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater, vote blue. Well, they said we will. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. We will throw the baby out with the bathwater, because we're decision fatigue. We can't, I've talked about this quite a bit, right? We can no longer take what feels like precious time. It's like the house is on fire, but yet you want me to say, let's go in the living room and put that fire out. I think I want to do that first. You're like, no, the whole house is on fire. We can't just make these decisions. So what ends up happening is we let the whole house burn. I'm just passing it along. I've said this a long time ago. There will be some good people who will be taken out because they're literally a guilt by association. I I'm just telling you guys. I don't know how we stop it because here's the thing. If you're a good person and yet you're not believing that this person that you're working with is stealing from the company, yet despite everything that you see, even though you're not doing it, but you're like, something's not right here. Well, when the cops come get them, they might get you too, even though you didn't do anything because you were there. What is, we're going to be asking a lot. What was your responsibility? What was your responsibility? You saw our country get fleeced. What was your responsibility? What do you think? I just see this, interview, this panel. Can you explain what you were thinking during this time? I'm telling you, everybody's going to get the third degree, and maybe they should. If you can't tell me what you were thinking, then and I'll say this too. This is really going to really probably blow a lot of people's minds, but the Vindmans, they're coming out kind of wonky on some things, right? Like they're really pro. For instance, this person interviewed, I think it was Alex, but I don't remember which Vindman because I'm channeling. It's on, you can probably find it, but I saw this on Threads. This person is interviewing him and saying, look what has been happened, what has been done to Palestine. Look at the damage. And he's like, nothing has been done. I refuse to believe anything's been done. It's like, I'm just telling you, right? This is a good guy. This is a good guy. But you could at least say, yes, it's terrible things have been done there. Okay? We're not going to have any patience. I'm telling you right now. When I was growing up, my dad, single father, there was a few of us. And guess what? If one of us got in trouble, we all got in trouble because he couldn't figure out which one of us did what. So he just put us all in timeout. So this is kind of the same energy that I see happening here. I'm just passing it along. I don't think, yeah, the Vindmans are very pro-Israel. Bulldog says, will MAGA wake up or will that never happen? I don't, when you say wake up, right? Like, what does that mean? I don't think the guides are saying they need to save face. This is where they're backed into a corner and more people are mad at them because we're talking about MAGAs, not Republicans, right? So the diehard MAGAs that are still MAGAs now, everybody's really mad at them. And I saw this right in a vision. I talked about this. I said, people are going to run over there and just like rock them, sock them, because it's like, first of all, my grandma died during COVID because you're dumb, stupid president. And second of all, now I can't afford my mortgage and I'm going to lose my house because you're dumb, stupid president. A lot of like, what is that word? Not anger, but a lot of, I don't know, things are stacking up that are inexcusable. And those MAGAs can't just come out. I don't think they have the evolutionary process to come out and say, wow, I was mad. I was wrong. There is this site called Leaving MAGA, which is trying to do a pretty good job, but I don't know. How do you leave a cult? I saw a long time ago, I saw the government funding these. They keep telling me every single time that I do this has been going on for years, DePelchin. I don't know why. I think DePelchin does foster care and stuff. I don't know. They say there's going to be these government funded, but privately, controlled or managed kind of cult centers where people are going to be reprogrammed. It's not, nobody's going to force them to do it. But I think that, I think at some point, we're going to be happy. We're going to be happier. We're going to have better quality of life. We're going to start to see the things we want to see, and they're going to feel shunned. They're going to feel left behind, and they're going to want to join us, and they don't know how to do it. So I think maybe some kind of mental health assistance might be helpful. Yeah, Maggie, good to see you, Libby. Yeah, voluntary ignorance. They're not, they're, look, I said this to somebody when I was in Canada recently. It's racism. And let's just call it what it is. Okay. Let's honestly just all call it what it is. Because when you say that to them, or even if you say that to Democrats, well, I don't really think it's racism. It's racism. It's 100,000% racism. They're being left out. They're not smart enough to get the jobs. They're not smart enough. They're not skilled enough. Um, all the things, all the things. So yeah, let's see what else you got going on here. And yeah, treason is the word. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Treason is the word the guides use. This is going to be the statute, the law that they're going to use to start taking these people down. It's going to be treason. It's 100% going to be treason. Let's see. Beagle Mom says so many people in Congress need to be investigated for their part in the fleecing of our money. All this insider trading that's happening, right? Like that guy Keene, who was, and I called it, I told you guys last week, that guy was out, allegedly. I think he was out for addiction treatment for 6 months. Because meanwhile, he's trading on Congress, making good money on his trades. Yet supposedly he was being treated for depression. That doesn't add up. If you're depressed, you're not, oh, I'm so depressed. I can't really think about anything, but oh, let me do this trade. Yeah, made some money. No, he was insider trading, I believe, allegedly, and being treated for some other sort of addiction, probably gambling. But anyway, yeah, let's see what else is happening. Yeah, that made my eyes bug out. I didn't really follow him that closely, but I didn't think he was this bad. Mary Huddleston said Alex Vindman will not say Israel's committed genocide when they really are, or at least their Bibi is, at least, for sure. And we're getting gaslit, right? And we need to be able to call things what they are. And this guy is just not, that's not acceptable. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But in these areas, he's totally the wrong guy, right? And it's not adding up. We're not going to put up with this anymore. I don't care. You're a good guy, but I'm sorry. You don't meet all our qualifications. It turns out we need someone to really just stand for the United States. You know what I mean? And you're not really doing that. So we're going to start firing these people. But it's going to cause a lot of argument within the Democratic Party. Y'all going to be arguing with me. I know it already. So, we have to talk. We have to talk this out because people like Vindman's going to disappoint us. That's very disappointing, right? And people are going to say, well, okay, I don't agree with him on that, but he's still a good, rep, he's still a good elected. And that might be true. That might be true for now. But I'm going to tell you that we're going to be bringing more and more people with a higher level of compassion, a higher evolutionary viewpoint. And those people, like Vindman, are going to be out. They may be fine for now, but they're not going to be people that we want to keep in there long term. And there's going to be a lot of churn, the guides are saying, a lot of churn in our electeds. Yes, I talked about this earlier. See, I told you guys 3 times the people are here now than when I started. I told you guys, I did a whole reading on Mitch in the very beginning. It's really in the first 10 minutes. He is brain dead. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's shocking what he told me, but basically I do believe he's brain dead because he came to me and talked to me. That means that he's in the astral field. He's not, I think he's being kept artificially alive, the guides are saying. Um, but also his body is so old and compromised that they're not going to be able to artificially keep him alive for very long. So when we are in a coma or anything like that, we don't stay in our bodies, right? We're out walking around. That's why you see people on hospice, they see their relatives, they talking to people actively because they're not really in their body. They're existing outside of their body. So Mitch came and told me a bunch of stuff that's really shocking and nasty, and I don't really want to say it again. So basically, he was unloading his guilt, basically, to me, and telling me some of the things that he did and some of the things he liked to do, and it's really sick. But you can watch it in the beginning. But yes, he is on life support. I do think that the salient thing for me to talk about with that is that there's going to be confusion. I think he goes before they expect him to go, or the medical professionals actually say he's gone, and then they're just not ready. And it's just confusion about who's going to take his place or how it's going to happen, or maybe it's being fought out in the courts the way the governor wants it to be. But it just seems really massively confusing, and it doesn't feel like we win or they win. It just feels like a mess, like a real mess. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Okay, let me try and catch up with these comments. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Happy 4th of July. You know what I decided? I am not going to celebrate this. um, but I did decide that, or the guide said, the guide said, this is our true independence. The 250th anniversary of our independence. This is our true independence. I can get behind that. Now that I can get behind celebrating. I can raise a toast to that. I can eat, a hot dog, whatever. I can do that. And I think that's really, really interesting way to think about it. This is the beginning of a new version of us. Now, we will be a baby, right? I mean, we're not going to be, it's not like on Monday we're a whole new country. We have to go through the process of learning who we are and what do we want. And that's why I talk about we need a lot of communication, a lot of dialogue. We need to talk about what we want, what our hopes and dreams are, and listen to each other. But this is really the beginning of a new version of us. Laughter 17 says, will a Democrat replace Mitch in the Senate in 26? I'm telling you, it's going to be confusing. I feel like they're going to appoint somebody who's not a Democrat, but it's not the end. This is what I'm saying about confusing. I think there's going to be fought in the courts. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see Bashir or the Democrats being bold enough to take this whole situation and just say, we're going to do it. We're going to put a Democrat in and you sue us. I think it's going to be the reverse. I think they're going to put a Republican and we're going to sue them. But I don't think it's a done deal. So whatever happens, it's chaos. It's confusion. It's not a done deal. It could even go back and forth. There's something the guides are saying about it undermining confidence. We talked about a constitutional crisis a few minutes ago. This is going to undermine the confidence again in our system, right? Like we have a system, it's not working. These senators are missing in action. One was in a memory care ward. Reps are in memory care wards. People are missing in action. We don't even know where they are. Mitch McConnell, missing in action. And then they try to replace him. And it's not going to be good for the confidence of the citizens when they're thinking about their government. So, yeah. Let's see what else is happening here. Something new Obama. What are you asking here? So Wacolia says, is there something more to the new Obama Center temporary White House? No, I don't see that. You want to give them all a heart attack right off the bat. I mean, literally, boom, it's over. Like I'm down for that. Okay. I love your puppy, and I think we're gonna vote for your puppy for president. Yes, that would kill them. No, I don't see that. Plus, actually, Obama would never let his center be the White House. This is a constitutional scholar. There's no way in hell he would let that. Plus, the White House is tainted. I have always seen, and I've been seeing it for a long time, and it's starting to happen. Camp David might actually be a temporary White House. I have seen a temporary White House that becomes the permanent White House, that is more functional as a White House, more protected from like Havana syndrome, right? Or more protected from things that are more threats, like a drone, right? Like we need a different type of White House. And I saw the White House getting damaged, and then it was damaged, but I see the White House getting further damaged. It could be when he's got 850 or 7 million fireworks he's going to set off this weekend. It's like hundreds of times more than a usual firework display. So yeah, I don't see the Obama Center doing that. I think it was fascinating that he chose a brutalist design, that Obama, that's the name of the architecture, is the brutalist. But I actually think I saw him doing Scandinavian, you know what I mean? Like modern glass and, but I didn't see this. But guess what? That thing is probably built to withstand a bomb. And the sad reality is that he has to think of those things, right? So I don't see that being a temporary White House, but I do think there will be a temporary White House. The guides are saying ad hoc, so yeah, temporary, something like that. What about Orange Julius? Connie says, what about Orange Julius? When is he going? Well, yeah, this is the thing. This energy feels like it's, I'm seeing a vortex, like a drain, like when water goes circling the drain and it goes down the drain. So I feel like this vortex energy is going to grab some people. I don't know why, but I'm not saying that he's going to be one that goes down the drain, because it could be that he's involved in a different way. But I just saw Rand Paul, I think that's his name. He could be involved in some kind of thing that they're telling me, is he not the guy? Boy, I'm really getting in deep now. Is he not the guy that whose law office burned down? Isn't that, I get the two guys look very similar to me. The Paul Ryan and Rand Paul. Like I get those mixed up all the time. So anyway, that guy, yes, okay. So that guy's when you asked about Orange Julius, this guy pops up. I don't know in what way he's going to be involved in this. Um, he has been speaking out against this stuff, right? He's a libertarian, I think. So anyway, Orange Julius. I mean, I feel like I felt like he had an exit point in March and an exit point in July. But, they're keeping him. Yeah, I know. He's also from Kentucky. That's true. Right. Yeah, Rand Paul is the guy, libertarian, whose office burned down. I said that was suspicious too, and it is. So he could be having some scrutiny. He could be having his own scrutiny. But I think that no, I don't know. I can't tell. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with Mitch, with Lindsay, with Orange Julius, with Putin. It's like debts are being counted, or debts are being retrieved, karmic debts. Like you're next. You can't evade this anymore. So I think it's sooner rather than later. I'll say, and I've said this before, this is going to cause a lot of chaos, right? This is what the guides keep talking about. So if Mitch is gone, let's just say maybe Lindsay's gone. Let's say somebody else is gone. Then let's say 45 goes. It's could be really, really destabilizing. I know we're all going to be celebrating, but it's going to destabilize the country because we're a very small group that knows and thinks about this stuff. The rest of the country is not aware. Trust me when I say they're not aware. They're so asleep. So if all this stuff starts falling apart, it's going to scare them, especially if something hits the White House, like, 75,000 fireworks or something. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. Will Poland be safe from Russia? I have been talking about Poland and Russia for years. I understand that maybe some of Poland's leadership is not as, anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care what Poland's leadership is or isn't. It does not matter. When I go into this energy, I see the Polish people. And I'm going to tell you right now, do not F with Polish people. I would not make them mad. And I will tell you, the government cannot control them. If they decide that they're some kind of mad, it's not going to be pretty. It's a tinderbox. The guides are saying this is a tinderbox. Like, we see these countries where people just rise up and they start rioting. Maybe Poland doesn't look like that to you, but it feels like that to me. So if Russia does something that's more than an errant, accidental, which they've already done, BOMB or something like that, it's gonna raise, they're gonna ask for NATO. They're gonna ask for a full response. They're gonna ask for a full response. The goal is not that, okay? Again, we have to understand, yes, right now, the United States and Russia and Israel's being governed by madmen. We can understand that. That is easy to understand. But we also have to understand that what really governs the planet is money. And what really governs the planet is the robber barons. It's all about their bottom line. They don't want to live in a bunker. They don't want that. They want to go see Taylor Swift get married. They want to go, you know what I mean? They want to be celebrities. What's the point of having all this money if people don't worship you, right? People can't worship you if you live in a bunker. So this is no fun for them. It didn't work. The whole thing didn't work. Now, are they still interested in having robots replace us? Absolutely. Are they interested in reducing the population of the world? Absolutely. But these are not things they're going to get this year or next year. So they're going to pass the ball back again to some feeble, pathetic Democrats who are going to try to keep all of us calm down. Same thing in all the other countries. This is not just us. It's going to be Poland. It's going to be everywhere. Hey, everybody, simmer down, simmer down. We're going to be okay. We got rid of the bad guy. And then we're all going to have this kind of hope. Okay. So my point is that we got rid of the bad guy. We got rid of Putin. Well, the threat is gone. Go back to buying things. Go back to sleep. That's why these changes are going to happen. But what the robber barons, well, I'm going to edit that because they do know this, but they believe that they can play the long game. Well, you don't get to be a robber baron without ego. Ego's a hell of a drug, right? Like, confidence is a hell of a drug. So the whole conversation I just had in my guides, which I just didn't tell you, was that the energy is switching away from us worshiping celebrities. The energy is shifting away from us worshiping business or money. That's not what we're going to worship anymore. We're going to worship peace. We're going to worship our health. We're going to worship true, real reality love. And we're just going to be happier with more normal things instead of wanting all those things that we never can seem to get, right? That extra money, that vacation home, or that $1 billion, whatever it is. We're not going to be chasing that. So The billionaires, they feel like they can outlast us and still manipulate us, but they can't. They cannot. The clock is ticking for them, period, end of story. And they will have to be reined in. Now, the guides are saying this is a lot like after World War II or after the Depression and World War II, when what was the tax bracket on very rich people was like over 40%, right? Some countries it's over 60%. That's when you bring it back in alignment. That's where we're going. We're not going to get there this year. We're not going to get there tomorrow, even next year or the year after. But within 3 to 5 years, that's where we're going to get, because our energy is moving us this way. We're not only doing this ourselves. This is also the energy that is also moving us. And Jasper agrees. Oh, look at the camera. There you go, buddy. So, does that make sense? I don't know. I'm channeling. I'm going to move on. Let's see. NATO doesn't want to do this. I mean, I'm telling you, would you like to pull your own teeth out? No, that's NATO. They're like, we don't want to do this. We'll do anything. We'll do anything to avoid this. So then you start talking about regime change, right? You start talking about, well, maybe we need to help them have a new leader, right? This is the kind of conversations you start having, and you can have them when the robber barons are supporting them. And I will just, do I want to say this out loud? Why do I want to say this? Do I really want to say this out loud? Okay. Okay. They said I can say it. Rock on. It always cracks me up how they don't say that, but say this. I'm like, okay. Anyway, check this out. I'm not saying it was good or bad. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I am saying that the guides have said this twice to me in one day. And I'm also not saying that Obama would do this. However, I'm saying that didn't Obama get rid of, the big supposed threat to us, right? Osama bin Laden, right? I'm just saying that has come to me twice now in one day. So I think there might be some energy around that, right? Around getting rid of somebody. He is adorable. He's like, why didn't I get to go for my walk tonight? At least I fed him. He's a very sweet boy. He really is. Yeah, Thomas Massey is a Republican. Look, this is what I'm saying about decision fatigue and discernment. Vindman and Thomas Massey. Well, they both say some things we like. They both come out pounding 45, pounding him, standing up. But then they vote for things that we actually really, really care about. They vote the wrong way. So Thomas Massey, yes, he's been an ally, but when it gets down to it, he's extremely conservative, and he would put us right back where Trump left us, wherever that is. Barry there says during the 1950s, the top marginal income tax rate in the United States was 91%. Y'all, we took 90% of these people's money. We just reached in there and took 90% of their money. And they still had enough money to be freaking filthy rich, which applied to the highest income bracket. However, this top bracket kicked in at earnings over 200,000. So basically like billionaires. If you're a billionaire, we're going to take 90% of your money. We're never going to get to 90%, you guys. But if we got up to 45%, if we get up to 55, I personally cannot see us getting above 65%, but I would love that. But even if we got up to say 45 or 55%, I really feel like people would be paying their way at that point. But we have to change this mentality that we have that, well, they worked hard for that money, so they deserve it, right? You didn't work hard at your job in customer service, so you don't deserve. Yeah, we do deserve, because as I said earlier, those billionaires are getting all kind of breaks. They're getting no tax. They're not paying any taxes. How successful could we be if we got all those breaks? But we're not getting them. So we have to change this mindset that help is communism. Because guess what? These corporations are getting help. They're getting corporate welfare. Oh, this is the best thing, Cindy P. So, if you're on Facebook, but also this was posted on Threads. So there's this Facebook, because I'm not on Facebook particularly. There's a Facebook group. You know, you can have a private group, or you can have a group like a group of like, oh, we love horses, or a group of like, oh, we're artists. Well, there's a group on Facebook that is a white proud, basically we're white and proud, whatever group. Well, because it's an open group, Black people are going in and joining it. And then they're just it talking to people. And the people are like, how did you get in here? Why are you here? You need to leave us alone. But it's the best thing that's happened to me in a long time, seeing this happen, because it's just awesome. So they're posting some of the threads, the responses and stuff on Threads, so we don't have to go to Facebook. But I just love that Black people are like, no, we're going to go into your white only space, and we're going to be in it. We're going to take up space in your life the way you take up space in our life. So again, this is a big change. This The guides are saying this is like the lunch counters, right? During segregation. It is segregation. It's like you're not allowed here. There's no law against it, but we just say you can't be here. So Black people sat at the lunch counters. Well, this is the social media version of that. They're actually going to this stupid group and showing up and saying, no, we have every right to be here. So I love this. This is so important. Thank you for reminding me that that was happening. Yeah, healthcare for all. There's going to be things that we are going to need, and they're really basic. You know, healthcare. Period. End of story. Um, Basic civil rights. We need rent control, or some way to make sure that we can afford a house or an apartment or some place that we can afford. We need to be able to transport ourselves, so we need good public transportation or ways to move around. This is where we're going, you guys. That's 100% where we're going. We're not going to get there tomorrow, but we are going there. I don't think Tracy Holden says, "Will Trump arrest Jack Smith out of spite?" There was a time energetically where this felt really, really strong to me. Actually, there was a time when he was going to arrest Obama. And I noticed Obama was kind of on the down low for about 6 months, right? Like he was like, you just didn't hear or see him. And now they're everywhere because the energy has shifted. Jack Smith is everywhere because the energy has shifted. So I don't think he will. The energy has shifted. He does not have whatever he had 3 months ago, he doesn't have it now. So, no, I don't think he can't do it. He can't pull it off. He can't pull it off. So, yeah. That You guys, do you know how big that is? I know maybe you don't, because I'm in the energy. Like I've been into the energy over my eyebrows, right? And it's felt really dark and really heavy and really, it's like you couldn't even fight against it, like you were just trapped. And now that it's moving and I'm seeing, I told y'all that Obama presidential library was big. It's like a whole shift of energy throughout the world happened. And now you see Jack Smith fighting back, you see Hunter Biden fighting back, you see all these, Hunter Biden's been fighting back from the beginning, but you see more and more people standing up to fight back. And it makes people like Vindman look even worse, in my opinion, right? So yeah. But yeah, so I don't think he can pull it off now. And the fact that Jack Smith is doing this interview, and the fact that Katie Fang uh, did a, did a I think she did a Freedom of Information search, and she's doing a court case, and then somehow extra documents got included in the discovery. It's like this. It's like Spirit is helping us. These are all things that are just extra that are happening, and there are wins. We're putting wins on the board. Not saying, not trying to sell you a bunch of hopium over here, but I'm getting more hopeful in general. It's going to be a long haul, but I like what I'm seeing. Same with Liz Cheney. Y'all don't even get me triggered. Don't get me triggered about Liz Cheney. Y'all that watch me, you know, the guides always called her a formidable opponent. I cannot tell you what I have for breakfast this morning, but if you say Liz Cheney, they say formidable opponent. Formidable opponent. So her and Massey, and don't forget the other guy, the twerp that really drives me crazy. Um, I'm blocking his name. They're going to come back and they're going to say, we're the new Republican Party. We denounce 45. We've always denounced him, which is true, right? These people are always against 45. So they can say that and be truthful, but they can't say that they didn't vote for his policies over 90% of the time when they were in office. So, you're just racist, fascist light. You're not the new version of the Republican Party, but they're going to rebrand. Who else? All the people, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're all going to come back. The greatest hits, the guides are saying, the greatest hits will come back and be like, we're going to be the savior of this party. And I'm not going to be able to. Democrats who tell me that, I have to do everything I can to not lose my shite, because they're not trustworthy. They're not us. They're not us. Libertarians are not our friends at all. At all. That's totally not. Uh the new sign. So Patricia gave me that. I can't point to it. I don't know if you're here tonight, Patricia, but she gave me that when I was in Canada. Thank you so much. The background is going to change because I am going to be moving sometime in the next month. I have a lot going on, but as I said, I was at Kevin Lewis's retreat in Canada teaching for the past week, and it was so beautiful and so amazing. I'm so grateful and honored to have been there. I also got this crystal from Kevin. Uh-oh. Look at this amethyst. Look at that with that crystal right there. Look at that. I don't know, y'all. It reminded me of a dragon's egg. And I had that thing where I was spending time with this dragon while they had this egg under their big claw. And the dragon that got hatched became like one of my guide team. Anyway, he was kind of selling some crystals and stuff. So I'm like, that's mine. I'm taking that with me. And TSA searched my bag and they were like, what the hell is this? I'm like, don't ask no questions. Anyway, whew, hope you guys are doing well. I want to say, for you guys that just joined me, I talked about Mitch McConnell in the very beginning, and it is shocking. So you might want to watch it. He is on his deathbed. He's being kept artificially alive. The guides are saying, I don't see him lasting long because his body is too frail. You can't keep it going. So I think they will. Adam Kinzinger, that's the guy. I do harass him a little bit on social media because he's all Mr. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. I'm against Trump. And I'm like, then why did you vote over 90% when you were in office with him? Why don't you think that kids should have free lunches? What's wrong with that? Right? You're a good guy. So he really makes me crazy. Matt Gaetz, I don't think he's coming back. I think he's got an appointment with a judge or a court, or even worse. But he's rich and he's got lots of contacts, so he'll probably get out. Oh God, Tucker Carlson's another one. They're all coming back. They're all rebranding, right? This is what the guide said that would happen last year. Oh, good question. Chris Cool says, does Obama consult an astrologist? He did say on an interview he believes in aliens. So, I don't know why I can't give you an answer. I don't know. I'm looking at him. Maybe it's his guilty pleasure. Maybe he does it on the down low, but I don't think so. He does not like giving up his free will. He doesn't. I mean, you're not giving up your free will, but some people do see it as that. They want everything to just feel like it's some kind of, whatever. And it still is. To me, it's just knowledge. It's like, oh, this is important information that I can use to make decisions. Like I'm not giving up my free will at all. But what's funny is when I was just looking at Obama, you know who popped in was Michelle, y'all. I think Michelle has an astrologer. I think Michelle dabbles in the oracle cards. Maybe she's talked about it. I don't know. But that's who. And I just got Hillary. So maybe Hillary and Michelle be doing reading their cards together. Girl, be I don't know. I'm just saying. Surprise me. This is true. Moonstar Communicate says you can look at Liz Cheney and smell her evilness. There was a time a couple of years ago when people were giving me grief for that. They really thought she was a good person. And I was having a meltdown because I knew she wasn't a good person. But again, sometimes I'm seeing so far into the future, it's hard to even imagine that that's really going to happen, right? I can say some things that just sound literally batshit crazy. And then they happen. But the future is the future. Davy Hearn. Oh, right. So this guy, Sue Steffens wants to know what is the outcome I see for Davy Hearn, the Olympic canoeist arrested at the reflection pool. Right. Well, he's good. The charges are going to be dismissed. Dismissed. But the guides are saying the harm has been done, right? This guy's been arrested. His life has been interrupted, right? Like he has real emotional harm that's been done to him. So he's probably going to sue the government. There's going to be a lot of suing the government after this. Like literally, we're going to be complaining that our tax dollars are going to people that are suing the government because all of these government workers that got fired or whatever happened to them, they're going to be suing. I mean, everybody's going to be suing the government, and it's going to be like, just get in line. It's going to take 5 years, but we'll get you your money. That they're saying the charges will be dropped. But you know what is worse when I go back? I think this is why I said he has emotional damage, because they're picking on him. You know how they send their little minions out to pick on people like Hunter? You know how they just went after Hunter? They're going to pick on this guy. Like they're going to find out where he lives. They're just going to really harass him. And I don't know why. I don't know, but that's what I see. So, um, yeah, even though it's all going to be dropped, but it's still harm that's been done. I don't know. You might want to send, I don't know this guy. I don't even know where he lives. I don't know nothing about him, but you might want to send him a little love. I think it'd be nice. It might be nice to send a lot of people that you admire some love, because worrying about them is not great. It doesn't feel great, right? But if you can instead send them some love and some light, that's like sending them a hug. That's a little bit better. Um, yeah, I think that I'm coming in on your conversation here, eavesdropping. And Mara Renee says, Cindy P, please let Joe Biden outlive Dumpy. And there's this energy of people exiting the planet, be they good people or bad people. It's still an energy of people exiting. So I think about Clinton. Um, Somebody asked me when I was in Canada about what would happen if Clinton died, or God forbid, Biden died during this reign of terror. Would they get a presidential, you know, send off? And the guide said yes, because 45 would love to be the president living while he puts one in the ground. He would love that. Think about how much press he would love that. He would be there sucking it all up, acting like whatever. So they would have something for him, but then the guide showed me that there would also be a separate and I don't know how this would happen. Like, again, what constitution? Some of these things are tradition. There's no law that says that the president has to lie and state. So you might find that there's some kind of like separate thing that happens. Much like the guide said, it was much like the presidential library that Obama had, where you had GW, you had all the presidents that are alive there, but those same presidents won't go to the White House, right? So you might have a separate thing, a separate celebration that is different, you know? So again, there's this breaking down, breaking apart of our traditions and our laws and all of those things. But I will say, I don't feel Biden being fragile. Anything can happen, but I don't feel that. I feel Clinton is kind of hanging on by a couple of threads. Um, but but the threads are not, weak. They're there. So I think that, Jimmy Carter keeps coming in for some reason, but I don't know why. Also, there's a little energy around the Pope. I'm not trying to start nothing. I'm just saying there could be an attempt, or there could be some, we might not even know about it or hear about it, but this energy is kind of affecting all of these leaders. It's leader energy, right? Like, are you able to hold on to this next evolution? And even if you're a good person, it still takes energy to evolve, right? You might be like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm just going to, like Jimmy Carter, I think, was like, you know what? I tried to stick it out and help you guys. My wife is over there. I'm tired. You're just going to have to do it without me. Go on without me. It's kind of that energy of, this is taking more energy than I have to stay here. So, but I don't see right now, I don't feel like Biden. He doesn't feel particularly, there's been times when he felt, a little weak, but he doesn't feel like that right now. So let's see what else you guys are talking about. Right. Thank you for this, Chris Cool. Katie Fang sued because the DOJ broke Epstein law passed by Congress. And in the suing, she gets discovery. She gets, to see what is part of this lawsuit. And I think she got more than she was supposed to get. There was some things that were perhaps, I don't know, but in the discovery, it's definitely, thank God for her, right? Thank God for her. Some of these people are writing books and just like Woodward, they're just writing books and then capitalizing on it. She actually took our government to court. That's the kind of journalist that I want to support. So if you don't follow her on whatever social media, I hope you do, because that does help her. Jasper, we have 30 minutes. So just, yeah, I know it's terrible. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Chris. Cool. Right. This is something that's really, really triggering for the robber barons. Roxy says we should all have free energy, free basic internet, universal health care, free college, free childcare, infrastructure, bullet trains, all the things. Look, if we have billionaires, they should be able to, we should have more parity, basically. And we're not asking for much. We're asking for the basics. These are basics, basic internet, basic, healthcare. So these are basic things. And this is where we're going. So I want you guys to keep that in your mind. Like, this is what we want. Just keep saying it. This is what we want. This is what we want, because we can get it. We just have to be very purposeful, and we have to be focused, and we have to keep telling our Democrats, we want this, and you're going to give it to us. Okay. That's what we have to do. Right. Yeah. Squamish was beautiful. Am I staying in the US? Yes, I am staying in the US. Absolutely. I do not have permission to live in a different country. I think, and if you're leaving, I think more power to you, right? This just for me and my situation, I'm going to be staying here. And I really think it's going to be so much better there is a time of hardship and like flux or confusion. That's what we're going to be in the next, say, 18 months, but it's going to get really a lot better here. But it's because we turn in and start focusing on us. We start focusing really on us instead of every other country, be it we're also going to change our defense budget is going to change dramatically. We're going to go through that when the defense department has all this money that just missing. We don't know where it is. We're not going to be putting up with this stuff, right? If your spouse said, well, I don't know where $50,000 went, or even if it was 150, you would be like, what? Right? This is where we are. We're not going to put up with it. Oh, yeah, you were there, Barb. So good to see you. Yes, the retreat was amazing. Yes, I recognize you. Yeah, it was amazing. Let's see what else is happening here. LS Yes said, can we get them all if we convict them with treason? Yes. I mean, the guides are saying theoretically, yes, right? But and it would be like RICO, right? So the RICO law is like, well, what did you know? You were in the office, therefore you had to know something. So there is this sense of dominoes, of like a net, right? Like the guides used to talk about that, right? Um, I can't say we're going to get them all, and I don't know why I can't say that. Diplomatic immunity. Oh, some of them might claim immunity. Some of them might make a deal. Some of them might make a deal and get some kind of immunity. And I think that the pardons that he's already done, I feel like those will not be challenged. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. The guides are saying it's double jeopardy. Look, this is what they're saying. You know who to call. 1-800 Spirit Guides. They're using this word a little differently, but they're saying they were already exonerated. You can't take it back. Okay. Once you're exonerated, you're exonerated. Even if it was from a false prophet or a false king. However, once we get into the investigative, this period of time right now, who he pardons right now. Okay, never mind. Okay, here's what they're saying. If he pardons somebody like Ivana, I'm thinking about Ivanka. I'm thinking about his daughter. If he pardoned her and theoretically or allegedly she was involved in a cover up that had to do with treason, that pardon wouldn't stand. So the pardons that have been given to people who are involved with treason will be null and void. Now, if he pardons, a Jan Sixer, that might be different. Or if he pardons a rapper or a criminal or whoever the hell he pardons, that's different. But if it specifically has to do with the treasonous actions around a certain timeline, those pardons will be null. But they can make a deal. I don't know. Hopefully that made sense. Anything on Eric Swalwell? I think he's gone. He's gone. He's like that guy that was running for president, dark-haired guy, a white guy that was running for president, and then it came out that he had a baby with one of his staff. That guy's gone. I feel like Swalwell's going to be gone. He flew too close to the sun. He got burned. He was too cocky. He thought he was the shit, and he's gone. I don't see him coming back. I could be wrong, but I don't see it. Right, Rose. Rebranding, aka distancing yourself from your crimes. Exactly. Yeah, this is true. So Tiny Quirk says, citizens of Arkansas, Arizona, Michigan, New York, Nevada, Oklahoma, please have your state legislators finish joining the popular vote interstate compact, which will effectively fix the electoral college problems. You're right, but I also want to say this. contact them and start telling them, I want healthcare. I want universal healthcare. They've got to hear it from us all the time. It's like if one voice isn't going to do it, right? But if there's thousands of voices, just all they can talk about is the electoral college. All they can talk about is healthcare. We have to pick these things, focus on them, and then make it our mission. Just continually talk about it. Now, it has to be something that they feel like they can vote on, right? So if there's already a thing being talked about, there's already this popular vote interstate compact, then you can make that a thing. You can, that means there's already something launched and they can work on it. It's not coming out of the blue. Okay. So I think that's great. Keep talking about it. Right. So here's another one. George Conway lost New York 12. These are good signs, totally good signs. They put him in there. They're like, we're going to put somebody in there. This is why I think they're going to go with Jeffries, because they put in these people that are really Republicans, but are Republicans that were vociferously against 45, thinking that we would fall for them, but we didn't fall for them. So now they're like, okay, guess what? They're so mad. This is what I said last time, right? They're so mad. They're starting to vote for these socialist Democrats. We have to do something quick before they, get those people in charge, and we actually have to pay taxes. So let's put all our money and effort behind Schumer, Jeffries, whatever, so that we can get these people to get behind the centrist Democrats. That's why the power is going to shift really quickly to centrist Democrats. Once they realize, again, I'll use the same analogy again, once they realize they're losing their game, they're going to walk away. It's like you don't want to sit in the parking lot full of traffic when your team is getting beat. So you're just going to call it a day early and get it, be able to get out. This is what these robber barons are doing. We see we're not going to win. Let's make a deal right now. Let's just switch the energy over so that we can move, because they need power. If the centrist Dems have power, then guess what? They have power. Do you see? Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. I do these every Friday. And I'm just taking your questions. I'm a psychic medium, so I'm reading the energy and getting the information. Yeah, Anita. Anita, I started reading your second book while I was on the plane. Excellent. If you guys are not familiar, she wrote some really two really really good books, fiction books, but about angels and this kind of stuff, and they're just so good. So anyway, I agree with you. I believe Michelle's an intuitive. Um, I think Obama would be too, but he's just so damn analytical. It gets in the way of his intuition. But I do think that Michelle is very intuitive. I read about Davy Hearn. Yep, I read that. Okay. That's the guy who they arrested for messing up the reflecting pool paint. But we all know he drove his whole line of vehicles through it. And I think that that's going to get thrown out. Long live E. Jean Carroll for sure. Is Trump being haunted? I think he is, Bear's mom. He's being haunted is not really the word. Assailed. Assailed? Haunted, I mean, I guess that's bad, but whatever's happening to him is worse. He's being targeted and ravaged. It's ravaged. He barely can sleep. He doesn't sleep at all. He's too afraid to sleep. So these dark energies are getting to him all the time. But I think you all, as we go in, see, I would have normally stayed in Canada and had myself a little vacation, but I hot-footed it right back here because I feel some energy around the 4th. I feel energy around these next couple of weeks, and I just wanted to be on this side of the border in case something happened and then I got stuck over there, right? So as I go into this energy, I really feel like there could be something that is bombastic, that is, a little bit, I don't want to say certain words, but violent, that could happen around him, because we just been talking about the robber barons saying, okay, we need to flip the power over because we can't control him. We like what he's been doing because he's been, you know, ruining everything so that we could grab the power. But now he's not at the end of his usefulness. We need to prepare for the new thing. So let's go ahead and just bring these Democrats in and switch the power. Well, that we all know he's not just going to step down. I don't see him. He doesn't really have the energy to flee. I mean, I think he thinks about it, but I don't think it would be successful. So I think there could be something a little bit, I don't know what word to use, but a little bit spectacular that could happen to him, because that would play to their angle. If he was offed, if in any way, shape, or form, if it was questionable, then they could replace the QAnon thing with him. You know what I mean? Like they could milk that for a long time. Because even though they're making a deal with the Democrats, they need the pressure on the Democrats to keep, they're not just going to give the power away. They're going to put the Democrats in office, and then they're going to sick all these crazy, MAGA people on the Democrats. So, this is all about strategy. So, yeah, I think something could happen. Maybe this weekend, but maybe in the next couple of weeks, something big could happen. A change, a big change. I know the warrior widow, but they don't see, we're thinking like they are humane. We're thinking like they care. They don't, your thing is give people health care and you remove the fear that every low income family they don't want to do that. They actually want us to be in fear, because if we're afraid we're going to lose our job, then we're going to work those extra hours without pay. If we're afraid that we're going to be arrested, then we're going to be quiet. So this is they use these things to control us. They don't want us happy. Honestly, they really don't. They don't want us happy. They don't want us taking vacations, because then we start getting ideas, right? Then we start getting ideas about, well, maybe we do want to get paid more. Maybe we do want more safety precautions. And then we start thinking about things we want. So instead they want to keep us afraid and terrorized. I hate to say it, but that's the plan. Oh yeah, I think we could for sure get free internet. We could 100% get free internet. It would not be hard at all to give us free internet. Now, you wouldn't get free internet that's like, oh, you can game all night or three people can run games. You might get internet that you can do some social media searching on, right? You might get baseline free internet, but you're not going to get top line free internet. Everything just needs to be in parity. It needs to be more equal, because we're going to lose our shit, basically. Thank you to all my moderators. I see you, Sharon. I hope you're doing okay. Thank you, Donna, and everybody who's a moderator. I really appreciate you. Looks like the chat's pretty quiet. I hope Cindy P. I don't want to miss anybody, but Book Bewitched. Thank you guys to all my moderators. If I'm missing anybody, Connie, whoever's here tonight, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Ron, Unconditional Love. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see what else you guys are talking about down here. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you have plans for the 4th. One thing the guide said that was kind of surprising to me today was they said this is going to be our independence, our new independence. And that made me feel better about it, actually. So this is the beginning, the new version of our independence. Yes, Donna, that's who I was talking about, was John Edwards. Thank you. That's the guy who disappeared, right? He was running for president. He had a pretty good chance, frankly, and it got leaked that his staff member was pregnant by him. He lost his family, his wife, his everything. So there's still, I don't, Democrats are not going to put up with this. This is what I'm trying to say. If you are not, um, if you're not really above board, we're not going to put up with you. We might vote you in right now because we have to, but we're going to circle back around and probably get rid of you. Oh, this is a great question. RPP 7331 says, will the speech by Major Jason Watson on the Capitol steps start a movement towards impeachment of both Prez and VP? I don't think so. The Democrats are too scared of their own shadow to do that, and they're not going to do it because an active duty service member went against the, whatever you want to call them, the laws of their military employment, engagement, whatever. I think this guy's a hero. I think he's courageous, but he actually went against the military. So these Democrats can't stand up against anything. So they're not, I don't think this is going to make them become courageous overnight. I bet that most of the Democrats will never even mention this man's name, but we should, because remember back when the whole Iran thing happened, a lot of everybody was saying, well, the service members should not do this, and they should fight back, and they. Well, here's a guy who did what everybody asked service members to do. We need to keep his voice. We need to keep his name out there, because I don't see a good outcome for him. Okay. I do not. Look, you have a military. We ask these people to go out and kill people. We ask these people to do things that are questionable. We ask these people to do things they don't want to do. That's probably against their own morals. They might have joined for free education, right? Or to get out of an abusive situation. They didn't join to be killers. They didn't join to be, you know what I mean? But you are. Okay. So my point is that they don't have they're owned by the military. They're not free. There's no free will here. So this guy really took a big risk, and I don't see it working out very good for him. Okay, I don't. It's not going to be great. And if we don't keep his name out there, then he did it for nothing. Okay, so every week somebody mention his name. Just let his bravery not be forgotten. Okay, because he's going to go to the brig. He's going to lose all. He's a major. He could have kept his mouth shut. He could have had a nice pension. He could have had free health care. He had his bills that he's paying with that money. This was his career. This is his freedom. He gave up a lot for this, and they're going to make an example out of him. And so I don't think I did a good job of describing this. Even if the military brass hate DJT, even if the military brass believes that he's treasonous, they can't allow a service member to break the rules, because then all the service members will be breaking the rules, and then they're not going to do what you tell them to do. When you say, get in this tank, get in this airplane, get this gun, they're not going to do it. So you have to make an example of people. You can't let them have their own thoughts, and you can't. So they're going to come down really hard on him, even though they may not want to. They will. I mean, he's very courageous, but I just hope that it's not for nothing, right? That's what I really hope. Let's see. Book Bewitched says, Susan, help me understand. George Conway has worked hard to take Trump out and explained why he was a GOP, but I was not. I don't know what the rest of your question is. Are you trying to? I'm just guessing at your question, that you're saying, why are we not supporting George Conway? Because in the end, I don't think he would be voting for free lunches. I don't think he would be voting for Roe to be passed. I mean, maybe he says he would be for these things. I'm saying to you, he's not a Democrat. He doesn't have our platform. He doesn't care what we care about. He's there. He's there like Liz Cheney and Massey and Kinzinger to say, I hate that guy. I'm pro-America. I'm pro. But when you get right down to it, is he going to be for universal health care? Is he going to be for reparations? Would he be for giving Native people their land back? Would he be for the environment, even if it means that Exxon's going to lose money? Because this is the hard things that we need people to be for. We need people to say, corporations bad, people good. And George Conway is a Republican. Yeah, he's like, maybe he's saying, oh, now I'm a bleeding heart liberal, but he's really not. He's just saying, this is too far. This guy has gone too far. This guy's a fascist. He's taken over our country. We agree on that. But that's kind of where we stop agreeing, if you ask me. But I'm not sure exactly what your question was. And by the way, that QR code up on the screen, it will take you to my website where I have an online community. I have a free online community. I have a paid online community. I have an amazing newsletter. My guides channel a newsletter every single week that's super helpful for all of us. But if you want somebody to help you understand this, to work with you, workshop with you, do readings with you, classes with you, you might want to join my online community. It's only $12 a month, and I'm with you 6 hours a month. It's super, super amazing. But you can get SusanLynnMedium.com, or you can use that QR code. It just, the guides show me the QR code. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. Is Ukraine ahead in the war? It is a critical, the guides are saying it's a critical injunction right now where a lot of harm, how do I describe this? Everything is going really quickly, so there's going to be more damage in Ukraine, more damage in Russia. It's like everything is speeding up. I wouldn't say that Ukraine is in the lead and is walloping Russia. I would say that they're walloping each other. But I would also say what's important is that Ukraine is giving Russia everything and more. So Ukraine is not losing. Ukraine is fighting back just as hard as Russia is. But it still feels a little bit too equal. And Ukraine needs a little something more, like a really big BOMB, like some decision end game, because right now they're too equally matched, even if Ukraine is holding their own, considering that they're a very small country. They have no budget for this. They're really doing way more than they should be able to do. But, you know, Russia's got North Korea, China, all these countries supporting them. So I do think I've always seen Ukraine winning, so to speak. But if you go to my very first videos about Ukraine all those years ago, I will tell you that Ukraine gets pulverized. It gets its rubble. But I also said that they will come out of the rubble like the phoenix and rise again. And I see Ukraine being rebuilt. I see Ukraine being rebuilt with modern architecture. So whereas maybe some of those cities were older and had beautiful historic buildings, now they're going to be steel. It's just very modern. The cities are going to be very modern. It's going to be a financial hub of Europe. So in the end, I see Ukraine coming out way better than Russia. But right now it's a slugfest and it's not pretty. And Ukraine just needs something bigger, and I feel like they have it. I feel like they've created it, and it's a matter of timing, that they're going to do something really big that might be something that brings Russia to the table, and also that would also be with Putin. Putin's demise also would bring Russia to the table. Like those two things together. Like I'm telling you, that energy of of regime change is in the air. It's like these things are not benefiting the money. So that person has to go, that person has to go, that person has to go because it's not working for us anymore. So we're just going to get rid of them. That's the energy. And then all of this is going to start switching over to the new timeline. What's amazing? I think Watson is, if that's the guy who did the reflecting pool, I believe he will be. I don't remember who Watson is right now. Virgo Girl says, what's up with Elon and the tech bros messing with the stock market? Well, it's insider trading. It's pump and dump. They pump it up and then they cash out, which causes it to dump. They're manipulating the stock market is what the guides just said. So it's all insider trading. All of this is insider trading. And this is what I'm saying. This is a Ponzi scheme. It's these stocks are not worth what it's not real. It's not reality. And that's why the guides keep saying, we're going to be saying, where's our money? Our money's gone. Our coffers are empty. We've been fleeced. That's one of the reasons why we're going to raise taxes on these corporations, right? And going back to George Conway, would George Conway, if he was in office, would he vote for an increase on corporate on billionaires or people over, say, 300, 500 million? Would he say you got to pay 40%? I don't think he would do that. Thinking you're just feel into it. Who do you think would say? Who would have the guts to go to these people and stop worshiping them and instead say, you got to pay us some money back because you became a trillionaire off of us. Now you have to tithe back to the people you took advantage of. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Eco Soul Art, that this is domestic terrorism. I agree with you. This is treason. I totally agree with you. But if you're talking about the service member, look, it's his word. He is up there saying this is treason. We have courts. We have a system. Service members, I mean, if you've never been in the service, I mean, you can't just do anything you want. If they say get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and run circles and scream, joy, joy, you have to do it, right? You are not free. You are in a cult, basically. So even if it is domestic terrorism or treason, it's one person's word. We don't even have Congress won't even say you know what I mean? It's not like anybody is saying that this is the case. They can't even impeach this guy. So here's one soldier, one major who says this is wrong, right? I applaud him. I think he's courageous, but it's not going to do anything. Look, go back in history, the guides are saying, and look at Black soldiers who came back from the war, and all they were trying to do, Black soldiers, all they were trying to do was live their lives, and they got killed. We killed our own soldiers. We killed our own Black soldiers. We need to learn our history. We're not a fair nation. We've done these things to people. We've done regime change, right? We're going to address it. We're going to learn from it. We're going to heal it. But this is what we have to do right now. So this one guy standing up is, even though he's a white guy, is not going to cause the entire Air Force, Navy, Marines, to say, oh, you're right. You're right. I hate to, that's just what I'm getting, right? The power grid, Anita, I mean, it's when I go into the energy, it feels unsupported and shaky. especially right now with this heat, right? It's maxing out because people are using, and then you have the data centers. Um, but what I think is going to be the problem with the power grid is sabotage. I don't think the power grid, now Texas has its own grid. That's a whole nother story. But the rest of the country, I don't think the power grid is going to go down because of, you know, its own capacity or inability to deal with capacity. It feels like it's going to be sabotaged. Now, that could be something like, I don't know if you remember, but not too long ago, some yahoos were going around shooting, literally, at these mini substation power substations and knocking the power out. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, right? Like, we don't have to worry about Russia or somebody. We got our own idiots doing this stuff. But so it would be really easy to do this even through hacking. So I think it's vulnerable. I think it's very vulnerable. And in this heat, it would be a great distraction for some city to lose power. You know what I mean? To take the distractions away from what's really happening. So what we can do is, look, you guys, those electric generators, they're not gas generators or electric generators. You can get them pretty cheaply. They used to be thousands of dollars. Now they're like hundreds of dollars. And some of them have solar panels. So you might want to save up, or if you want to look into it, if you have the money, you might want to look into it. You might want to think about, what would I want to power? If you need to power your CPAP machine because you'd like to stay alive, or you would like to power something that's, important for you, then you want to make sure that you can power what you want to power with the thing you're buying. Some of them, I have one that will power my refrigerator, and it was $500, and it's got solar panels, so I can recharge it if I don't have power. But these, and they're not gasoline, they're electric, right? So you don't have to worry about gasoline or fumes. So at least now there's new options for us to run a fan if, the power goes out. Or typically you cannot run air conditioners like window units off of them, but research it, because window units require a lot of upfront power. Like they need a lot of power to start. Then once they're started, they run on this much power, but to start, they need this much. So mostly those generators don't work. Those types of generators don't work AC units. So if you want to run an AC unit, you need to Google it. You need to do your research. But if you're worried about the grid, I would suggest that you start thinking about those options. If you have more money, you can get a whole house generator that an electrician installs, and they can run off natural gas, so that when the power's out, guess what? Your whole house is running. Your whole house is running. So I just think, for all the reasons, for the natural disasters that can happen, the grid failures, all the reasons, we need to be prepared, right? Have some extra water, have a little extra food. You don't have to have a ton of stuff, but it would be helpful to have a plan. And then we're not at their mercy. Or know, like, I would go to the library, or, contact your local community people and say, what do I do if the power goes out? What plan do you have for me? Right? Right. There's lots of things here in the chat, swamp coolers, all kinds of things. Power bank for your cell phone. Oh my God, that's really cool. Dibs says that you've seen units, AC units with dedicated solar panels. That's amazing. The technology is moving. Okay. The technology is moving and is helping us. We just need to be a little bit more prepared, because we're the ones that's going to get through this so much easier, because you're watching readers like me. You're thinking ahead. You're forewarned is forearmed. Those people that are just caught off guard, like I going to the airport, my Lyft driver, She worked at Nike. Before that, she worked at that big tractor company. Um, and she just got laid off. Like she was in management and she just got laid off. And like no job, no nothing. She's driving Lyft, because even though she's a liberal person, blah, 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 she never thought it could happen to her. That's what I'm saying. Forewarned is forearmed. We need to prepare because nothing is going to be stable. And we need to sort of prepare as much as we can. Did you get the trolls? Thank you. Gigi by the Sea, good to see you. Thank you for being Deb. Thank you for being moderators. I said hello to all the other moderators. Thank you for getting the troll. We're going to have more trolls. We're going to have more pain in the butts. That's why I have an online community that's private, that's not on YouTube. It's not on Meta. There's no trolls. There's no advertising. It's just us. So it's really nice. Oh, you know what? I do want to say this. The guide said this earlier. If you don't have plans to cook for this weekend and you're thinking you're going to eat out, please do this. Please eat out at an immigrant's restaurant, right? The 4th of July. This country was founded by immigrants. Let's go celebrate immigrants. Let's go spend some money at an immigrant's restaurant sometime in the next week. Even if it's $5. If you are going to do it, consider that to be your way to, honor the fact that immigrants are still part of our story. Also, honor Black restaurants. If you are so lucky as to have one, you may want to go there and spend your money there. Or if you're even luckier to have a Native American restaurant. But think about where you're spending your money. It's really powerful. It's really powerful where you spend that $1, $5, $10. Let's spend it with people that, really can use it instead of, like Amazon and these other things, or even, a chain restaurant. Try to look around and find that immigrant local restaurant, that Black restaurant, that Native American restaurant, and patronize them. And mention it to your friends and family. Hey, let's go. There's an Ethiopian restaurant. There's a Korean restaurant. There's a Black restaurant, whatever it is, right? Try and find them and help them out because they really need the help right now. And I think that's really a way to honor who we are as a country, right? Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to shop Walmart or Amazon. You have to, and that's fine. But when we can make a choice, when we can vote with our dollars, let's do it. Let's think about those dollars as powerful, right? Because it really is. Mexican food is great. But plus, you also may never have tried Polish food or Ethiopian food or Thai food. And, you might just go in and say, hey, I want to spend $15. What would you recommend for a newbie? Right. And just tell them that you're supporting them. I talked to a guy from Ukraine because I was going to hire a designer to do some work for me. And he's a designer. And I told him, I said, look, I'm really sorry about what's happening. And I don't support this guy and we don't support him and we're rooting for you. And he wrote me back and said, that made me tear up. He's like, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, well, guess what? I have a whole lot of people on YouTube that are really rooting for Ukraine. He's like, that made my whole day. So imagine going into a restaurant of an immigrant who's worried about ICE coming by and saying, hey, I really appreciate you being in the community. I really appreciate what you're doing here. And I want to help you. That's how we make our communities better. And share it with anybody. Yeah, soul food is the whole thing. Right. But if you're not going anywhere, that's fine. I mean, I get it. And some of us are doing our own cooking, but let's not lose sight of it, right? Like if you do find yourself out and about, go to that place in that strip mall or whatever, and just check it out, right? Let's see, one or two more questions and then we're going to sign off. Yeah, Happy New America Day. I think this is what we're going to call it. Happy New America Day. Do you Deb says, will Dumbo sneak in a pardon for Maxwell when he does a supposed 250 pardons? I think he will. I think he will. And I think he will pardon P. Diddy or whoever. He'll pardon. Yeah, he will. I've seen him pardoning Maxwell for a long time. But there's a sense that once she gets the pardon, she's a threat. She's not a person who kowtows. She doesn't suck up. She's not a sycophant. So once she gets her freedom, they're afraid she's going to come for them. Really. So that they're trying to keep something in their corner, right? Like, well, if we have this, we can control her, right? So I do think he will pardon her. Um, there could be, I don't know, the guides just said this. I don't know this factually, but this is what they're saying, that well, yeah, they have pocket pardons, right? Like hidden pardons that nobody knows about. So the guide said when he kicks the bucket, there could be some sort of pardons that are, I don't know if this is what the guides are saying. I don't know if this is a thing, but like something that happens when he kicks the bucket, the pardons become activated. I think that's not a thing, but I think that may be what he's going to try to do or something. Yeah. Yeah, Cuban food. Y'all are going to make me hungry for real. I mean, I love all those kinds of foods, right? But I think, it would just be nice to support these people. Um, yeah, Mickey Walk, yes, she does. She has a dead man switch. What's her name? Maxwell has a dead man switch in place. That's why she's still alive. Think about all the people that are dead. I just read about this guy who died in 2023, who was the architect, quote unquote, of Zorro Ranch and also Epstein's other house. He was the architect of their digital security system. Like he built all the stuff that's kept it secure, and he died. He got killed. So look, there's a reason she's still alive, and it's because she has a dead woman's switch. If you do something to her, these things will pop up on screens everywhere. It's not about, oh, I've got this letter. No, it goes automatically to Times Square. It goes to Vegas. It goes to London. They have those big screens on the skyscrapers. It will be disseminated to the people. It will be on your TV. It'll be everywhere. And they know she can do it. And so they can't control that. And they don't know where the switches are. They don't know where they're coming from. So they have to deal with her as a real threat. But right now, they have a little bit of the United States law that they can use against her. The mechanism of the courts, they can use this against her. So if they just let her loose, she's not going to just go, her energy suggests she's not just going to go be retired somewhere. She's going to get back in business, and she's going to get back at people because she doesn't believe she should have ever been incarcerated. So she's got an axe to grind. She's a threat. So yeah, that's I think he will, but it might be when he's DED, when he's gone, or something like that. And last question, I will Nikki, will Ivanka and Jared build on that Albanian island? I have seen that they will, but I feel like it's just on one, like if you cut the tip off of something, like that U-shaped piece of the island is going to be something they'll build a wall, it'll be a bunker, because they need it for the proximity of shipping and receiving illicit, allegedly, things, be they people, be they goods. It's very important. The location of it is very important. But everything is a race, right? Everything's a race. The same thing with Ukraine and with Russia and with everything. The good energy is coming. And so these people are trying to get everything in place as fast as they can. And there is a time where they cannot get that done. If they don't get it done quick enough, they won't get it done. So there's a time limit on it because those two people, one is going to flee, I think, to the Emirates or some Middle Eastern country. I think that's Kushner. And I think that dear Miss Daughter is probably going to end up in prison. This is what I've always seen. It might, it's going to be a Maxwell situation. It's not going to be, general population in Alcatraz or something, or Rikers. But they're trying to, if they can build it fast enough, they might get away with it. That's their plan. Okay. Whether or not they can build it fast enough, I don't know, but that's their plan anyway. Yeah. You guys are sharing all these great restaurants from all of these immigrants. I hope you will go out and be safe, or stay home and be safe, whatever it is. We can't protect other people. So if you have family going out, let them do their thing. They're not going to listen, and that's okay. Let them do whatever it is they want to do. And I'm sure everybody will be safe. I'm not sure about the people that whoever's going to be there. It's probably going to be 6 people at his stupid, fireworks display. Something could go awry. Something feels like it could be a big boom, and I'm not talking about fireworks. So DC, the White House, if it doesn't happen this weekend, there's energy around that happening in the next couple of weeks. It's not guaranteed, but there certainly is energy there, and there's energy for people to decamp to Camp David, which I have seen for a long time. Ice in the diapers. Love it. Yes, I hope everybody has a good weekend. So just, know that the energy is starting to shift, and it's shifting for the better. Things are still going to be surprisingly horrible for a little bit here and there, because that's just what we're dealing with. But I really do think the energy is shifting. Oh, he did cancel the fair today because the energy was 110. Well, there you go. Again, the energy is shifting. They're not getting away with what they wanted to get away with. They can't even get people to go to their stupid things these days. So take really good care of yourselves. Okay, everybody. And I'll see you really soon here on YouTube, and have a good weekend. Do something nice for yourself. Okay. All right, everybody. See you next time. Thanks again for everything. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.